Hi everyone, welcome to Divine Secret Tarot. This is a direct message which is very powerfully channeled. As I was shuffling the deck, the Five of Wands that wanted to come out, and I'm getting that there is a specific fixation when it comes to this connection in particular, but it's not in the way you expect. And what I mean is there is a balanced inner union between your inner divine masculine and inner divine feminine. Now, the divine masculine is upskilling themselves, is honing their craft just as much as the divine feminine is, but in two different paths. They're still walking alongside each other. What I mean by this is the fixation of whatever you're tackling in this very moment is not the enemy. That is the mirror. And the divine feminine and the divine masculine are both focusing on themselves, right? It's pulling you deeper within yourself. And there is this obsession, there's this craving, there's this ache, and it's not about control or confirmation. It is your soul begging for alignment. And this connection isn't breaking, it's evolving. Even for those of you who have completely disengaged, this type of fixation can block the flow, but it's also binding an energy to the outcome, not the presence. So, yes, you're being encouraged to let go, not of the connection, but of your grip of the expectation of what you want things to be and how you want them to be in a very specific way, according to your timeline. So, the inner divine masculine is helping you bring clarity. It's allowing your inner divine feminine to surrender in trust, releasing the need to know, but to fix or chase. It's allowing all these things to dissipate. And then, therefore, that energy is allowing you to rise. So you're becoming the magnet, you're becoming the match. And from that place of wholeness, the true union unfolds not in your expectations, but in the divine orchestration of who you're supposed to be this entire time. Now, I'm going to go through a few questions, which I absolutely adore these questions. I didn't think that they would come to me so powerfully. Um, this is all about the divine masculine. And I'm gonna put in some mirroring questions around the divine feminine. Sometimes the divine feminine does tend to come into a masculine reading and give personal insights. So I'm gonna pop the Five of Wands back in and I'm gonna do another shuffle of the deck because I want to know what the divine masculines are currently being awakened to and where they are beginning to understand their own soul purpose, what illusions and programmings they are currently breaking free from. So the first card that wanted to come out is the Lovers card. Wow. You guys, I shuffled. This kind of hits me with silence. This pause, this passion, this ascension, this space of healing. Now, the both of you are healing visions of yourself that had been reoccurrent from past lives, but also particularly from childhood. Now, I'm definitely hearing that these reoccurring themes are here to absolve any hurt, any pain, any grief that you held on to. So the divine masculines who have felt pain and grief and fixation on a previous connection has led them to put up boundaries around their heart. They hadn't been able to shine in the way that they wanted to in regards to being a loyal, committed, carefree, joyful, abundant person. Something had happened in their past that had led them to cage themselves instead of use those boundaries to push people away. They've actually caged their own awakening, their own ascension, their own gifts. So the fact that we have the Lovers card as what is the divine masculine currently awakening to, they are enabling themselves to process this element of love that has kept them back, kept them caged for so long. And I don't see this as a specific twin flame energy. I see this as more of a finding love in nature, finding love in the day to day, finding love in the mundane. Like, I feel that the divine feminines, if you're listening to this, please let me know if this is true. You already are equipped at finding the joys in every day. The divine masculine isn't asking for anything at this period in time, but they are currently awakening to the fixation of love that is all around them. How is the divine masculine being able to begin to understand their soul purpose? Allow me to heed these messages, the Six of Wands. Now we've got the Six of the Lovers card and the Six of Wands. Some of you obviously are seeing this number, but this is the sole purpose of their destined legacy, their victory. Some of them are supposed to speak up in public to recognize the authority and the leadership qualities that they haven't really been able to fine tune. It kind of reminds me of that Five of Wands energy at the beginning. This Six of Wands is reminding me that there was one additional leadership staff that needed for them to guide others. So the Five of Wands at the beginning of the reading had embodied the apprenticeships, the interns that they are teaching, training. There's a lot of teaching and training happening, but they've kept this one staff for themselves that basically claims their leadership. But I'm also hearing potential. Like they have probably been in a specific leadership role, but they haven't really tested the boundaries of that because they haven't really been awakened to the love that they needed to give. So before they might have taught in a harsher way, and now they're softening to a way it's being receptive to the learner and not the teacher. The Six of Wands is enhancing their own capability as a leader, as a teacher, as a mentor, so that other people can rise and eventually he can pass that stuff too. That's a very, very specific message. What illusions or programmings is the divine masculine breaking free from? That's too many cards. So the Knight of Wands and the Two of Cups at the bottom of the deck, but I'm going to put them back in because they were just way too many cards. What is the illusions or programmings that the divine masculines are breaking free from? I keep seeing, hearing the old way won't cut it anymore. The old decisions, the old manipulative behavior. Like you can be, what is it? You can be kind. You could be a nice person, but it doesn't mean you're kind. A nice person, I heard this recently. A nice person is very manipulative in seeking out doing things for a return of their investment. But a kind person has no motives or initiatives or intentions other than being kind. So if you're nice, I get it. You're probably doing something in token of receiving something in the future. But when you are being kind, you are just doing it selflessly. the illusions and programmings that the divine masculines are breaking free from. We have the Four of Wands. So do you remember when I said we had the Five of Wands at the beginning of them upskilling themselves and the people around them? They're looking for the victory of their own demise, of their own hard work and sacrifice. But they also the illusions of programming, of marriage, of commitment, of family, of unity. They have been distraught with fighting against the paradigm of society, but they also know that this hasn't been an easy journey for them to fight against it. They have rejected certain offers and they've tried certain things, but nothing is clicking for them. So it's going to need a lot more strength, courage, and sacrifice for them to lead away from the traditional family the family expectations, the expectations of society. That's what I feel like they're breaking free from. And the strength card wanted to come out. So the 4 and the 8, it's amplifying that energy. I remember actually saying that very same thing in a Instagram video. So check that one out if you haven't already. Where in your life, divine masculines, are you being called to take aligned action? Where in your life are you being called to take aligned action? Oh, thank you, Spirits. No Fool. Now we've got another major arcana. Now, okay, I'm seeing somewhere in the woods, somewhere in the forest, an area that has been forgotten, lost. And something has led them to this very specific place. I'm seeing woods, forest, a home, and a waterfall nearby. Like they are going to a very specific place to find some solitude, to remember who they are. And I don't mean from the past, I mean their soul remembrance of what they're supposed to do in this lifetime. They're going through a soul remembrance. What a beautiful message. What are the old definitions of the masculinity of the divine masculines releasing? One card, please. Okay, we needed 2 cards for this. The old definitions of masculinity, we have the 3 of Swords and we have the Justice card. That's pretty powerful, you guys. And the Hanged Master keeps coming up lately. It's at the bottom of the deck. Their pain, their grief doesn't dictate their future, but it has allowed them to shift their path and delayed a specific outcome. They've dwelled on a specific predictive outcome for far too long. And what I mean by that is they have been succumbed to the temptations of society and they've allowed themselves to do that. But all they found was pain and superficial, surface level people. But also, they're not admitting how deep and how profound and how powerful their mindset is. There's something a lot more deeper, a lot more meaningful, a lot more intentional, a lot more depth. I'm like, I keep getting these images of the ocean. Like there is the divine masculine who thought he was a lake, a piddly little stream, and now he's seeing the waterfalls, he's seeing the mountains, he's seeing the ocean, and he's resonating with those bodies of water and the woods in a different way. And I don't mean that by what I mean by that is Spirit is encouraging me to share that they are being called to bodies of water that recognize their own soul within that, but is also aligning them to the divine feminine. The divine feminine is an embodiment of water. The mountains, the valleys, the cities usually embody the divine masculine. So if the divine masculine is veering towards bodies of water and they're identifying with the ocean, they're identifying and they're assessing their inner divine feminines that need to be nurtured and revised. So the old version of that masculine toxicity goes away. But it doesn't really truly go away. It just means that it's able to rest in the past where it belongs. What is the divine masculine thinking versus feeling? What is the divine masculine thinking? And what is the divine masculine feeling? Okay, thanks, Spirit. Oh my gosh, they fell on the floor. What is the divine masculine thinking? Power play, moves, like I'm seeing chess or cards being played, like analytical, purposeful. Okay, so they're thinking about the hierarchy of things to do. Like I feel like this is a type of divine masculine that doesn't really have goals or a mission, but they're thinking about the things they want to accomplish. And what are they feeling? Unease. Wow. This card, wow, we've got surprise as well. Like these two cards are the anomalies of this particular deck because they were like additional cards. I wouldn't call them major arcanas, but they identify as major arcanas because they've got one word and they don't have any numbers, but they do add to divine oracle messages. So if the thinking is the laying down the foundation in the material sense, they're feeling unease and a surprise. And these two, what we would call as oracle cards, are both in the feeling cards. Both of these cards are very unlikely to come out in the way they did, unease and surprise. So it's that going forth in the dark without actually understanding what is affecting you, what is coming up, and that freaks them out. They like logic, they like certainty, they like to have all of the cards laid on the table, but they aren't the ones who are doing that. They keep their cards close to them, their chest. So they're saying and thinking and feeling, if I want certain things to happen in a certain way, maybe my thinking needs to be different because my feeling is pushing me in this direction. What's keeping the divine masculine stuck in their head and out of their heart? The Eight of Pentacles, but it was kind of in an inverted position. The Five of Cups and the Chariot card. What does this mean? Well, this means that the divine masculine had revised the way they work. They've revised the way that they've seen, the way that they've sacrificed things in the past, and they're able to move forward by aligning their emotions and their logic. So instead of purely being in the logic mindset, which had kept them stuck in the past, they're learning from the past hardships, sacrifices, and pain, and they're moving forward with their heart energy. Messages from the higher self or the divine feminine. Messages from the higher self or the divine feminine. Knight of Cups, Nine of Pentacles, Seven of Cups. The divine feminine needs you to know that you are loyal, you are an enabler. Like their sense of sovereignty matches your sense of sovereignty because there is this residual wealth and freedom and success that the divine masculines are forgetting they actually have, and that they have other paths and options to take them towards their own divine self, higher self, divine feminine. What is the fear around vulnerability, blocking a deeper connection? What is the fear the divine masculines have? Those are too many cards, Spirit. Can we just get one card? I'm seeing The fear of vulnerability, blocking the divine masculines from the deeper connection. The fear of vulnerability, what is going on for the divine masculines? What are they fearing? What are they vulnerable about? That is preventing them, blocking them from deepening this connection with the divine feminines. Oh, thank you, Spirit. That came out. The Sun card. Ow, I just hit my elbow. This is interesting because I feel it's the divine masculines unable to see the light in themselves mirrored back to them via you, divine feminines. Okay, so something outlandish came through, and it said that once you had dismissed certain connections because you had maybe even thought, why would this person even be into me? Like, they are so incredible. They have everything going for them, but it was a facade, right? It's our interpretation of what we think we deserve. So we push people away because we're like, well, why would that person ever be interested in me? And actually, you are foreseeing a destructive outcome even before opening yourself up to deepening what you truly want. So that fear turned into a fear of vulnerability. And the Sun card invites the divine masculine to see that they are a mirror of their higher selves. They are a mirror to your higher self, divine feminines who are listening in. And that's actually blocking. So their worth, their understanding of what they truly deserve has blocked this connection. How is the divine masculine being forced to step into the leadership? Now, we had this leadership energy right at the beginning around the Six of Wands, but can you give us more details? The Queen of Cups wanted to come out and the King of Pentacles. Okay. You know, earlier when I said that they've got a balance between logic and emotions, this is amplifying that. They are being called to step into leadership by balancing their emotions, but also feeding the logical side. So, based on their experience, based on their knowledge, and now their newfound wealth and abundance in their emotional intelligence, it's being asked of them to step into that higher leadership role. What is this soul purpose or mission that is surfacing? What is this soul purpose and mission that is surfacing? That is way too many cards, Spirit. Okay. What is the soul mission or purpose that is surfacing for the divine masculines? One card, please. Okay, two cards. Page of Pentacles, Two of Cups. Why is this important? This soul mission has always been to take each step at a time, to not rush, to not be hasty, to actually seek knowledge. I feel like it's either a father figure or a grandfather. It could even be a brother. And they're going to communicate with them regarding how they can probably enhance their purpose and soul mission. Because remember at the beginning of the reading, they're still coming to this awareness. And the Two of Cups is that's the love that they need to give themselves. Look, King of Cups, King of Wands. That's the passion, that's the emotional stability they need to give themselves to actually step into the soul mission and purpose. What is blocking their divine masculine self-worth? Oh, that came out fast. Nine of Wands. Nine of Wands is they're persevering with something that kind of has led them to feel a lot of pain. Like, I feel like this type of giving up energy. They want to give this up, but they also know there's something else to it. So they haven't really given it up yet. They do need to release something. I do get that heavily. So whatever's blocking their own self-worth into stepping into this power, they have been holding on to, and that's actually prevented it's like they're playing small. What does heart-led leadership look like for the divine masculines? What does heart-led leadership look like for the divine masculines? Oh, goodness. Ace of Swords, the Empress, the High Priestess. Oh my gosh. You know what? It's really funny because I'm seeing that the divine masculine sees so many opportunities for abundance. And this is going back to that original message when I talked about the divine masculines who are the divine masculines taking a step into their heart, into their emotions, figuring out what has held them back, speaking to those about a specific project. But it also means aligning with their divine feminines. Something isn't complete and they know this. I feel like they're probably getting messages around the right women would elevate you and create a legacy. How's the divine masculine mirroring the divine feminine's growth, the star card? They are being lit up with ideas, they're seeing your name and they're getting these sparks, they're getting these aha moments, but they're also, oh, okay, so they're not really understanding why these signs are around. What is the divine masculine healing? The Five of Pentacles, the loss of, I feel there's a divine masculine who really feels the loss of this connection. What is happening for the 3D? The Hanged Mouse. What is happening in the 5D? In the 5D, they have been moving quite swiftly, but in the 3D, you can't see any of this energy, divine feminines, if you're watching on behalf of your divine masculines. It feels like they are stagnant, but that's far from the truth. What is happening in the 5D for the masculines? The Death card. The Tower and the Eight of Wands. Yeah, what was I saying? It looks like nothing's happening in the external, but internally they're having a whale of a time learning how to shift their energy. And that's helping you, divine feminines, as the Empress, align with your healing. You're balancing your inner feminine. You're reflecting this current state of union within. What do we need to know for the divine masculines in the near future regarding their own leadership, their own growth, and the connection? So their own leadership, their own growth, and then the connection. So can I have 3 cards, please, Spirit? What is coming up in the near future for the divine masculines? I'm waiting for the cards to pop out because sometimes I pull them out, but this isn't a question that needs to be pulled. This is a question that needs to be flipped. So I'm having a little bit more patience with the cards today. And look at that. The 3 cards that wanted to come out. So the first card is the 5 of Swords. What are they doing in regards to their, oh, the Empress is at the bottom of the deck. I love this. So it is the reflection of the divine feminines that's happening right now. The 5 of Swords is in regards to their leadership. So remember when I said the 5 of Wands had been about upskilling themselves, but 5 of Swords is within their own headspace, within their own thoughts. There's been quite a lot of intimidation, a lot of hostility when they lead. And I'm seeing that they've been defeated and in disagreement with, I don't know, they like apprentices. What I'm also seeing is the divine masculine earlier had tried to change that. So they're in conflict within their leadership strategies to change the way that they lead. And that's going to be very awakening for the divine masculines who haven't changed their leadership style. What is happening within their growth? We've got the Page of Swords. Now, I feel like this is an elevation between them and their higher selves. And remember, divine feminines, it doesn't matter if you're not in contact with your person, you are sowing the seeds for them to heal and grow because you're doing it yourself. And this is helping the divine masculine speak up about where they need to grow within themselves. They're taking this deep dive. And you may not see any of this in the external, but you're definitely feeling this internally, mirroring. So their growth means that they are speaking things that they wish to happen, thinking things that they wish to happen. And then regarding this connection, wow, look at this. We've got the Knight of Swords. So we've gone from Five of Swords regarding leadership, knowing they need to change and do something different. The Page of Swords is thinking, believing, affirming what they truly want. And then regarding the connection, it's the Knight of Swords. So they're about to take action in regards to this connection. And I feel like it's not just this connection, they're taking action towards themselves. That's why they're able to come towards you, feminines, because they're wanting to take action in regards to being better, a better version of themselves. I feel like you're enhancing this version of themselves, which is going to lead them to the Six of Wands, because they haven't been able to imagine this without you. What a weird, beautiful type of message. If you resonated with any of this, please let me know in the comments box. I'm sending you guys so much love. If you haven't already joined the community of Divine Sacred Tarot, head over to my website. You can also find private readings access. I will not ever direct message anyone for a reading. So you need to use your own discernment about what it is that you need at this time. And be sure to book it on my website. And yeah, like this video, comment, say something. I love hearing from each and every one of you. I appreciate you all. Thank you so much for being here. Bye for now.